Welcome to Hanging Out with Robert, that's me. This video is composed of things that I tinkered with throughout the day. For step-by-step detailed instructions of those tasks, you can click on the links in the comment section below. This video should contain tips and tricks of things that I've learned throughout the year. Now, I only plan on leaving this video posted for about 30 days. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much for watching. Here we are, and the Panther hadn't been started in 3 weeks. Whatever that battery drain was, it's gone. Fire it right up. I'm at this 06, I think it is, S60 T5. Believed to be one of the strongest engines Volvo ever put out in these white block cars. Kind of has forged rods and pistons almost. Very strong engine. Has a K24 turbo on it. I'm about to pull that. So I'm going to check the turbo, get this stuff out of the way, get this thing pulled, and the HOWR exhaust manifold. Can't seem to put my hands on mine that I have for Queen Bee, so let me get rolling on this. I'm going to pull this bar, pull this charge pipe, and check the turbo. People asked about the health of this K24. As you can see, inlet blades are intact. I'm gonna stick my hand in the exhaust side and turn it. Turns nice and easy. I'm gonna try to give it in and out play. Absolutely no in and out play. I'm gonna try to wiggle it. That's all the wiggle I get out of it. This turbo is very tight, appears to be in very good shape. Now I'm going to let you see the exhaust side of it so you can see if it's been blowing oil out the back. If it has, it'll be black. I hadn't even looked at it yet. So, spin this thing around. Look at the back side of it. And it looks nice and normal. There you have it. I don't know if it's got any cracks in there or not, but turbo, tubing, and the angled flange will all go with it. I'm going to keep the exhaust manifold for Queen Bee. There's a tag on it. So, K24, whatever. Hope you can read that. Not sure if you can or not. You pull and pay. Looking for a steering rack for 1 to 2. Hard to find a dry rack, man. This one's got good end links. Let's see. The other side looks dry too. Our pull and pay does an excellent job keeping these supports off of the subframe mountings, which is, like I said, awesome. Got to drop the subframe to get the steering rack out. This is a second possibility. Doesn't look too wet. I'm gonna go check 3 more cars, take the best one. One of these shift lock solenoids. I just pulled one out of this S70, hooked up my jumper box. Every time I activate my micro switch, it moves, so should be good. Out of the salvage yard, I'm gonna go and do a video for you guys just on the steering rack over at oh man, Teresa 2 or whatever that car's name is, with my buddy Santos. In this video, we're going to put a steering rack, replace a steering rack on this 98 S70. This is a T5M 1 to 2. It's probably good to put all 4 wheels on jack stands. We only have 2, I think, so we're going to put the back on ramps, jack up the front, put ramps under the front. So this is going to be step-by-step instructions. I already pulled the rack out of the salvage yard, the cleanest rack I could find. They're not very common, go bad, but like anything else in any other car, they can. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is break the lug nuts loose on the front wheels, jack the car up, get it on the jack stands, and then remove the front wheels. Front tire is about 1 inch or 2 off the ground. However, how you want to put it off the ground is fine. Next, we're taking the wheels off. One's off, we're going to pull the next one off. Jack stands on the edge of the frame there, a little bit in from that. It's good to support from there, not so good to support from here. A lot of people get buckles in their floor when they support from there. But if you got something that'll spread a little bit of room around, you can do that. You can see that's dented in there. He could probably feel that on the floorboard. The next thing you want to do, if you have it, is support the engine. You can support these engines with a hook or some kind of support here. Of course, this helps support the engine. So if you got something you can lay across the engine, support the engine up so it don't fall down with the frame of the car. That's what you want to do. You want to do, brace the engine from the top. If you can't, put some supports under the engine on the bottom. You don't want to crack your oil pan. So if you got an engine hoist, that would be good too. But you could put some weight on the oil pan, just disperse it real well. Maybe 2 jacks would be better than 1. But we're going to support the engine from down here. Jack stands either here or along the frame of the car there. It's good if you have some that are extended. If not, you could stack some lumber and put them on lumber. Do not put jack stands on cinder block. Cinder block crush, car fall over, you're in a mess. So that's where I'm putting these. There or up here. We are resting the engine on this support here, 2 jacks, not lifting it, just resting it on there. Take off the splash guard on the passenger side and take those 2 bolts loose right there out of that mount so that the subframe won't be stuck to the engine on this side, and it'll let it come down a little bit. Next, we're going to pull the air box to get it out of the way. So you take this clamp here loose, take that air tube loose, pull the mass airflow sensor plug out. If you got the SAS pump, you pull that off. Make sure nothing's hooked on the back of it, like your coil wire and or your boost control solenoid, and jerk this side of the air box up and work it out of the way. Take this turbo intake tube off if you like, but you need to get down there and take that steering linkage loose. That needs to come loose. It's usually a 10 and a 13 millimeter. Take the pin out, take the bolt out, and then when you lower the subframe, that'll slide out. The steering shaft will slide out of the steering column. I did have to pull the turbo inlet tube. You go over the top, 7 millimeter or flat tip screwdriver. You pull the 2 PCV hoses off of it. You unplug the PTC valve, and then when that clamp is loose enough, you take these 2 hoses loose from the inlet by the mass airflow sensor and pull it out. Now I have better access to this. Where's it at? That right there, steering linkage. Not sure why my flashlight's not working. Pull that pin out of there and that bolt out of the steering linkage. Alright, I have that bolt out. Good to go. Now it's time to go under the car. What you want to do is pull the bolts from the steering rack. You got a 15 there, a 15 there, a 18 there, a 15 there, a couple of 15s on the other side. Go ahead and loosen all of those bolts. Take them all the way out.
You have a set of gloves?
I did take all 5 of the bolts out of the rack that bolts the rack to the subframe. Now I'm going to take this 12mm bolt out here that holds the lines, and that T25 out of that bracket there that holds the lines, so I can get some play in the lines when I take the lines loose, and help me get the rack out. Next thing I did was pull the 14mm out of the rear hydraulic engine mount right there. Next, I'm going to take these bolts out of the tie rod ends. They should be 18mm, both sides. Next, I'm removing the subframe bolts. I'm taking the two 14s on this car. Sometimes they're 13s, sometimes they're 15s, and then the 18 out of there. I'm taking the two on the back loose. I'm taking this front one loose on the passenger side, about 5 full turns. And I'm taking the front one loose on the driver's side, about 8 turns. But the two rear ones, I'm taking them all the way down, and the subframe should drop. And then I'm going to take the lines loose. Subframe's hanging down. Next thing I got to do is get the linkage loose from the steering column up there. It'll fall down a little further, and I'm going to tap these out. It's best to hit the knuckle with a small sledge until these pop out. That's how you get those loose. You hit this gray part here with a small sledge, and those will pop out of there. Do both sides. Got the ball joints loose, or the outer tie rod ends rather, and now I just need to take those two lines loose. Once I get those two lines loose, I should be able to maneuver the rack out. On the other car, the donor car, one of them was a 16, the lower one was a 19. These actually look a little different, but let's see what they are. The rack shaft was a little stuck in the steering column, so we sprayed some penetrant lubrication on there, whatever you want to call it, PB Blaster, and we tapped it out. Put some on top, tap it out till it comes out. Now we can reach the lines on the rack. After you get the top line out, you're going to have to push it real hard to get it out of the way. Check the seal. If the seal's bad, you're going to have to go get new seals. And then I'm going to go ahead and break this one loose. It's a 19. My small adjustable jaw wrench has been able to break both of those loose. Held the lines up, pulled that rack out of there on the driver's side. So we are ready to go back in. I'm going to check this bracket, make sure it's the same, ready to go back in with the replacement used rack. Identical. The one we pulled out, you can see how dark it was from leaking out of the boot over here. So this was the issue with the rack. Put your foot on that rack over there. Let me get and cut this zip tie loose. Alright, we cut the zip tie loose. And that's where all the fluid was coming out. You can see it pouring out of the boot. That rack needs to be rebuilt. They take these things loose, turn them out, rebuild them. I don't know if you can rebuild them or not. I want to guess this is a TRW rack, because when I had a SMI rack, it clearly stated that it was an SMI rack. So his inner tie rod ends on this are a little better than the replacement one. Ah, they're close. I think this one is better. Oh, that one real loose too. So we're going to take the outer tie rod ends off and swap those over and go back in with this thing. The large hose, the seal looks fine. The small hose, the seal was bad. So we went to Napa and got a replacement for that small hose. It's better to get the green ones, but the black ones are fine. So we're going to go ahead and put this in, put this back together. Super extra careful you don't cross thread these lines. The rack is lifted up and shifted to the passenger side just a little bit. The holes are almost lined up. The line came around, got the bottom one in, threaded it in a few threads with my hand. Now I'm tightening it in with the wrench. After that one's tight, then I'm going to put the top one in. Do not cross thread those lines. The lines tightened up. I maneuvered the bracket in the right position. The rack fell down through the subframe. I put 3 bolts in on this side, 2 bolts on the other side. Then I went back there and got that 14 millimeter in that rear hydraulic mount. While I was raising the subframe, I did it on the passenger side, raised it up. I got this to line up. Now you got that little flat spot on the steering rack, and that bolt has to go through that. As you can see, it's saying LH, that's left-hand drive. I put that bolt in there, secured that. I raised that slowly while it went into position. So over here on the rack, you can see it's got this flat spot right there. That flat spot has to be lined up so that bolt goes through it. This teeth may be keyed, but if it's not, that's fine, because you know that bolt has to go through there, so line it up like that. I won't know how our alignment is till we get the wheels on, but it was aligned to the last car that it was on. I got that tightened up, got the pin in it, checked my turbo while I was down here. Now I'm going to put this turbo tube back on, tighten that up, hook the PCV back up to it, and hook up the PTC plug. Let me put that on and keep moving. I got both outer tie rods on, tighten those down. Then, as I said, I raised my subframe, put all the bolts in it, tightened it up, torqued down those bolts on the bottom of the rack. So, next thing we're going to do is fill up the reservoir for the rack, and we're going to cycle the steering wheel around a few times back and forth to bleed the air out of the rack, so we don't start the car with the rack empty and damage this power steering pump or that rack. So fill it up, turn the wheel back and forth 5 or 6 times, top it off, do it again, top it off, make sure you get all the air out that you can before you start the car. You use the type of fluid that your manual recommends. Turning it back and forth a few times, getting that fluid through there. And then we'll probably cycle that thing through back and forth. Alright, got a little bit of air there. We'll let it rest, come back, do it again, 5 minutes, come back, do it again, 5 minutes. Make sure you got enough fluid in there before you start your car. Up, we got the brace on the lines. We cycled the pump across several times. Nice and quiet. Go ahead, start, turn the wheel through a few times. Alright, it's going down a little bit. Alright, we're going to put the wheel on here and see how bad the alignment looks. Maybe try to align it a little bit. If they don't look too bad, we'll just leave it the way it is. Alright, you need some fluid. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.